Hey everyone, Kanon is back, and today we will go through some of the news around the Jamir tournament for this month. We will go through the new banner, which is going to be Thanatos for 1 week, and we will look at what really is the state of the game right now. So here we go, quick hint. Let's get back and let's look at the Jamir Championship. So let's have a look at some of the teams which are there at the moment. So what has happened and has been said on Facebook is that apparently someone on Discord from the official GT Arcade team mentioned that the cap for the Jamir tournament was going to be at Immortal 5 1 star, so that is roughly 1,650 points, but in reality the cap was at Legendary 1 star. Now this is, I find it very frustrating that GT Arcade is unable to communicate properly around the main player versus player competition in the game. So as most of you probably know, the cap used to be Legendary 40, and so for example even in the month of September I had changed these, I had farmed my Legendary 40 stars in the first week, so it was quite a significant effort, only to find out that GT Arcade, without disclosing these or communicating to anyone, outside possibly an extremely limited number of players, these Sanctuary Council possibly, they had already in September cut the cap to Legendary 1 star. So GT Arcade, please be clear about what is the cap so that people do not waste time and are not disappointed, as in this case, for all those who maybe stopped playing at Immortal 5 1 star. Now, what this caused, at least from my perspective, was that probably the last couple of days, so Saturday and Sunday, whenever I was trying to find a Galactic Duel match, my matchmaking lasted a very long time, and for 2 hours I would only be matched with the same, I would say, 3 to 5 people, and several times the matchmaking will fail. So it is possibly due to this like erroneous communication about what the Jamir Cup was going to be, but it's also possibly a sign that the number of players is decreasing, and possibly that is the reason why GT Arcade is now looking at server merge also on the global version of the game. So on the Seiya version of the game, a server merge has already happened, and effectively, if you're not aware, the Seiya version of the game is in quite a bad place, I would say, right now, because I also have an account on the Seiya version, which I created mainly to have a look at characters before they would appear on the global version. And on the Seiya version, the Legion Conquest is, there is usually just 1 Legion participating. There are no people playing during most of the day, so the Seiya version clearly needs server merge. So hopefully GT Arcade is able to start merging servers also in the global version, because we're starting to feel a lack of players. Now we will briefly come back on these in the second part of the video, but I guess right now what is useful to see is some of the compositions being used in the qualification. So for example, let's start with the first player, Nikoki Lewis. So win rate 100%, so effectively he would have played just one game, so 7 points from 1100 to 1107. So he's playing, as we said in many of my prior videos, so this is the Hades Repair Cloth team. So the base team is Hades, Sea Dragon Kanon, Underworld Shun and Mew. Now he's playing with Gemini Kanon to effectively give additional cosmic damage after Sea Dragon Kanon has exiled a target, so that definitely can work, but potentially also to already exile somebody from the first turn. So 6 manas, so 2 for Hades Eclipse and 4 for Kanon's Exile. Gold Yoga again is one of the usual potential to additional saints in the team, because he can place immediately across on Hades, so that Hades immediately starts transferring damage to the other team. Now the first team is possibly more interesting because he's playing June, but he's not playing Hypnos, and he's playing Shaka instead. Now he's in terms of healing and defense, he's then playing Ophiuchus and this is Shun, and his damage dealers are Thanatos and Aphrodite. I guess it does make sense to play Shaka instead of Hypnos. Now it does make sense, for example, in a situation where you've lost the first game versus an opponent who played Thanatos. So for example, if you know already that Thanatos is not going to be in the opponent composition, it does make a lot of sense to play with Shaka instead of Hypnos, because also if the opponent has already won a game with the Thanatos team, it is quite possible that the opponent is going to play a team based on Hades Repaired Cloth, and Shaka is a very significant danger for the Hades Repaired Cloth team, because he's able to really create a lot of problems with these silences and mutes and hashes. So the reason why many of the Hades team play Gold Yoga is also to try and have Gold Yoga faster than Shaka to redirect the mute. So definitely an interesting team. There is nothing particularly strange about these teams. So I would say there is no Hypnos, but probably it makes sense considering that this Hades Repair Cloth team is now so popular, and even though Hypnos is able, for example, to mark Mew and create problems in that sense, Shaka is definitely very difficult to deal with for the Hades Repair Cloth team. So let's have another look. So nothing here. Fakir hasn't played. So of course all the people who are at 1100, including me, are kind of quiet right now. So Faking's Madrid. So he's well, it's unclear because it says he hasn't participated, but he is still showing one team. I believe this is due to the lag in the updating of the Jamir page. So this is a team which is making a bit of a reappearance now. So it's the Ichiminos with Evil Saga, and effectively for all those times where the opponent is using a fast Gemini Kanon, so Gemini Kanon, if used, can be significantly faster than June. So this is a very good way of killing Gemini Kanon in the first turn. So yeah, it's a very valid team. I'm sure that we'll see it a bit more. Nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. I'm also very quiet. Nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. Topirate has been playing, and again we have a variant of the Hades Repair Clause team. So again, base team, Hades, Sea Dragon, Underworld Shun and Mew. Now he's playing, his additional two characters are Kiki and Minos. So this is, I think, a very interesting choice, and possibly a great choice for a mirror match, because Minos is again very difficult to deal with for the Hades Repaired Cloth team. So Minos can, for example, control Sea Dragon Kanon and break the combo, or he can control Hades and can create a pact with someone in his own team. So Minos is definitely a pain to deal with, and so this is an interesting team composition, likely made to counter mirror matches. The second team is instead fairly standard. So again, as we see, like, Hypnos is not used here either. So in this case, he's playing with Kanon, Thanatos, Aphrodite as damage dealers, and possibly Kanon also, like, his main function in first turn is to generate energy potentially, and then also Athena for energy generation, and then sorry, and then Ophiuchus and this is Shiryu for support. So an interesting team. Possibly it does lack in control. So I'm not sure what this team will really do against a proper Hades Repair Cloth team. For example, just against the team above, but is definitely a valid team, and again is played by Topirate, so most of his abilities will be all fives. So let's scroll down. Nothing here, nothing here, and here we find our first Hypnos. So team based on the twins, and then Athena to generate energy, Andromeda Shun for control, and Aphrodite for damage. So this is quite interesting in the sense that Shun is a good control. He's very effective against Aphrodite, and in particular against any Aphrodite who play with the Ares God skill. But well, it's to be seen how this team can perform. Really, I'm not a big fan of this team. It's a bit heavy potentially, and again, if you play Andromeda Shun in this position, if the opponent has a faster Hypnos and is able to slow him down, potentially Aphrodite no longer is the last one to act. So yeah, it's an interesting team. There is nothing wrong with it, but I think there are better teams that can play Thanatos and Hypnos. Now his second team is a variant again of the Hades Repair Cloth team, but for some reason he's playing with Aphrodite instead of Mew. I'm not sure what sense this has, because the point of the combo is for Kanon to exile in the second turn, and then Underworld Shun to give a double turn to an evolved Mew, and Mew ready to be the main damage dealer already in the second turn. So together with EOE from Hades in the third turn, basically win already in the third turn. So what Aphrodite does in this team, well, is a mystery to me. Anyway, so Saint Crow, again, Hades Repair Cloth team. So this is the second time we're seeing the base team. So Hades, Dragon Kanon, and Shun Mew. Again, he's playing the same composition that we saw earlier. So Gemini Kanon for extra damage and potentially for exiling someone on the first turn, and Gold Yoga to redirect an enemy Shaka, for example, or to redirect damage on Hades, since he has the damage sharing. The second turn, the second team instead is using like the twins, Ophiuchus, Geki, and Aphrodite. So this is an interesting team, I guess, to play without the energy generation from Kanon or Athena. So, of course, in the first turn it will be possible to activate only one between Hypnos and Ophiuchus. So clearly this team has an issue in that sense. But then he's playing like one of the best controls right now, which is Geki, who, if you saw my tier list and my other videos, you will know Geki is able to stun even with his basic attack, and so he's fantastic to deal, for example, with Aphrodite, or in general in a team which has some lack of energy. So very solid compositions for Crow. Sargias, who is again someone from my group of servers. So what he's doing here, so he's showing the same team effectively in two versions. So June and Hypnos to provide sustain to the team. Gemini Kanon, likely to just provide energy in the first turn, for Hades to activate the Eclipse. And then we see that he plays Aphrodite for damage, and then for defense is alternating between DC Shun and DC Shiryu. So it's an interesting team. So here Hades is not used in what is possibly the best team where to use him, which we saw many times. So here he's used mainly for the large HP reduction that is activated with the Eclipse, so that together with the constant damage and sustain from Hypnos and the damage from Aphrodite is able to kill the enemy. So interesting teams. So let's go again here. So here we have again Hypnos June, and then we see again Minos to try to counter effectively the Hades Repair Cloth teams with Sea-Dragon Kanon. And then again we see Underworld Shun and Mew, so an interesting team. So the team with Thanatos then plays the Guilty card. So how this team works is effectively by sacrificing Athena or potentially Pog Yoga. It really depends how things are looking, but you can sacrifice one or the other to give a massive damage increase to Thanatos, and then Thanatos is able to close the game potentially on the second turn. So Gold Yoga, cross on Guilty, Guilty gets his stacks, sacrifices Athena, who returns as a ghost, or Yoga, Thanatos gets massive damage, and the game is effectively done. So it's an interesting team. It's a combo team. Again, this team does suffer a lot Minos, because of course if you control Guilty with Minos, you can potentially sacrifice Thanatos, or you can sacrifice this Ishun. So it is again a team who does suffer a lot Minos, or even control in general, because of course if Guilty is stunned, he is then unable to use the ability and generate damage increase. Let's look again. Almost nothing here. So again, the team that we already saw in many versions today. So we saw a version with all the same, but Gemini Kanon instead of this Ishun. So the version with this Ishun is a more defensive version, who can, for example, try to absorb the fourth ability from Thanatos, or try to cleanse and protect Gemini Kanon or Pog Yoga. So this is another of the common versions of the Hades Repair Cloth theme. And then again in the second theme we see again the theme of Hypnos not being used that much given the current metagame. And again we see double energy generation, Thanatos and Aphrodite being the main damage dealers, and the support provided by Ophiuchus and DC Shiryu. So, and here we are again. So same version that we saw multiple times. So base Hades Repair Cloth team with Gemini Kanon and Pog Yoga. And then here we have Shaka to effectively counter precisely that team. So the reality is a fight of speed always between Shaka and Pog Yoga. So if you're confident that your Shaka will be able to surpass Pog Yoga speed, go for it. But there is no point in playing with a slow Shaka. So again, fairly basic team. So we've seen that Thanatos and Aphrodite are by far the most common damage dealers that we've seen in all these teams. And then we have Great 88, who is from my same server. So again, Hades Repair Cloth team with Pog Yoga and a Decision, so the slightly defensive version. Now he's interestingly playing with Shura instead of Aphrodite. So I wonder how that is working. Shura is definitely quite fragile right now, and it's always a problem to have him effectively targeted by the enemy Thanatos, because even under June's Vine he can easily die. So he's clearly trying to break from June's Vine, either somebody under Hypnos damage, or under, for example, Thanatos' fourth skill, or Kanon, like trying to free somebody for Kanon to kill. But yeah, Shura is definitely very, very fragile. So Grey Haze, again, Hades team with Pog Yoga and Decision. And then he's playing the team that we saw also earlier, so Ichiminos with Evil Saga, and then energy generation from Athena to activate Ophiuchus, and then Thanatos also to kill the enemy team. So very, very interesting team, very, very valid as well, considering what we're seeing at the moment. So Ozzy, again, Hades team with Gemini Kanon and Pog Yoga, and again one Ichi-Minos with Evil Saga, Thanatos, so not playing with Ophiuchus this time, but having additional damage from Aphrodite, potentially protected by this Ishun. So I guess it would be interesting to see this combo. So this Ishun protecting Aphrodite, who, if using more than 3 energy, would be attacked by his own Evil Saga, and then for this Ishun to throw all that damage onto the enemy team. So definitely interesting, curious to watch it. Okay, interesting name here. So again, the standard Hades Repair Cloth team, and then Hypnos does appear here. This team uses both this Ishun and this Ishiryu for defense, and Athena for energy generation, and Thanatos and Aphrodite for damage. Bale, interesting team. So this is playing with Andromeda Shun for control, together with the Mew. I guess I always find it interesting when someone doesn't play Aphrodite to play Mew right now, because Aphrodite, even after Dragon Chant, is effectively able to kill the entire enemy team under the Ares God skill. So it is and is also unaffected by all controls, with the exception of the stun from Geiki and the Andromeda Shun restrict. So it's great. So Mew, yeah, it makes sense considering that, as we saw, there are less Hypnos around. But yeah, a bit puzzled. So the second team is an Ichi-Minos, but without Evil Saga. So again, interesting choice. I mean, yes, he can control the enemy Kanon, but what to do with it at that point? So yeah, interesting choice. I'm not that convinced. So what we have here, so Ichi-Minos with Evil Saga, and then one of the few without an Hades Repair Cloth team. I guess it is like the other team, because these two teams have many characters which are the same across the two teams, so you must have also, I believe, an Hades Repair Cloth team. But again, Hypnos, June here, Thanatos, Aphrodite, Kanon, and Ophiuchus. So again, if you haven't watched my tier list, and you would see how effectively these characters are very significant, it is very clear that Evil Saga is now reappearing a bit, at least in Jamir. It doesn't make that much sense in a galactic duel, but in Jamir definitely it is. It can be used across the two teams with the Ichi-Minos. And then again, the Hades Repair Cloth team, this time with Gold Yoga and Geki, and then again a team based on the twins, Gemini Kanon, this is Shiryu, and this is interesting and unusual Aiolia. Quite interesting, considering the only control is really coming from Hypnos, but I don't understand it, but good luck. So nothing here, and then Shira is playing again. Wow, this is very interesting. A team with Pavo Mayura. I'm not sure what this team was doing, but playing Pavo Mayura, and then the second team playing the Ichi-Minos with Evil Saga, Underworld Shun and Mew. So instead of playing the standard Repair Cloth Hades is used in this Pavo Mayura's team for the HP reduction. and then Underworld Shun and Mew can be used in this low energy Evil Saga team. So I think we looked at the top 32 right now. So clearly the Hades Repair Cloth team is very common. So again, base team with the Hades, Sea Dragon Kanon, Underworld Shun and Mew, and we've seen the common characters to use for the other two slots are Gold Yoga, Gemini Kanon, DC Shun, and sometimes we've seen Geik as well. We've seen one interesting choice where we had Kik and Minos. So definitely the Hades Repair Cloth team is very popular. We've seen less Hypnos around, and I would say we've seen a lot of Aphrodite and Thanatos being the main damage dealers. So I guess that leaves us to the next banner, who is going to be Thanatos. Now, if you don't have Thanatos, is absolutely recommended that you try and get him, because he's by far the strongest character in PvP right now. So you should definitely try and get him. Unfortunately, like with the second banner, you will not be able to benefit from the rebates, but nonetheless, you should absolutely try to have this character. I wasn't really expecting Thanatos this week. I was expecting someone like Luna, for example. Now, what this means is that probably we will see Luna the next week or the one after. But I would say if you're worried about your gems, try to focus on Thanatos, because Luna is not a mandatory character for the Galactic Duel. Is not really a meta changer. It does work very well in the Hades Repair Cloth team as one of the two additional characters, but is not mandatory in any way. So you have time to pull for Thanatos and then wait for the next Lucky Cat. So please try to get Thanatos if you don't have him already. If you do have him already, just save your gems. The other thing that is worth mentioning is that we had this Academy training event, which is unfortunately bugged. So GT Arcade has confirmed that the event will be available again after the next maintenance, so on Wednesday, and that all players will be compensated. So do not give up, do not worry, the event will come back and there will be compensation for all players. I guess what really should be discussed right now is the state of the game, because as I said, there are less people around. So I am on the E20 server, and I am seeing every week less and less people. Even the Legion Conquest, which until a couple of months ago always used to have all 16 legions participating, has been slowly but surely losing legions. So the number of players is coming down. Something really needs to be done, and the problem of the global version of the game has been that effectively over 1 year we've had all the characters that have been put onto the Chinese version over 2 years. So this has meant that over 1 year we also had a lot less resources, for example skill books, to level those characters. So the reality is that at the moment to compete in those high levels is extremely tricky and requires a massive investment. I mean, I am like very high in terms of like where I am in Galactic Duel and where I am like in current Jamir. But as you see, I don't even have Hades repair cloth. My Hades skills are low, so the reality is I do not spend much. I do not think it's necessary, and the reality is that after some time, if you see that the game every week wants you to spend more and more money, it becomes an issue, because what we are seeing is that people are leaving the game, and there aren't enough new players joining the game, because what this 1 year rush to get all the characters out has created is that now for a new player is almost impossible to compete in at a meaningful level, for example in Jamir. So if you join a new server, that's fine, maybe like everyone is at the same level, and of course like your opponents on the same server would be at the same level as you, but you will not have any characters. So to enjoy the game, you still need to have characters, you still need to be able to use those characters to create various themes and various combos. So the problem is, if GT Arcade doesn't do something to allow new players to close at least a bit the gap with the existing higher servers, unfortunately I think the game is not going to last very long, because players will stop playing, there will be no new players coming into the game, and that will be the end of the game effectively. So please, GT Arcade, do something to close the gap, increase the amount of resources that are given to players, allow new players, for example, to have some of the more useful characters, at least for example for PvE. I do know that GT Arcade already updated the rewards by giving, for example, Shura and Aphrodite. That's great. Why not, for example, also giving the Seiki, or for example some of the maybe not top tier characters, but at least somebody like DC Shun, for example, who is in any case added to the pool. So I'm sure that new players will find the experience more enjoyable in that way. So that was all I had to discuss with you today. So over the next few days we will do more videos around how the Jamir qualification is going. So we look again at how the metagame is evolving there, and hopefully tomorrow there will be the announcement of what is coming in the maintenance update. So let's see what comes up then, and I'll see you for the next video after the update on Wednesday. Have a good evening. Bye bye.